Hi there. Well, this week we are thinking about love in action. In fact, not just this week, but this whole month of February. This is our theme for the month. Every month we have a different theme, and this is love in action. And so what are we thinking about? Well, we're thinking about love. And we're thinking about how love can play such an important part in our lives. You know, there's a story that Jesus told, and it was a story in response to a question from some of the religious people and some of the crowd that were gathering round him, following him. And they asked him, what is it to follow God? What are you supposed to do? And Jesus says, well, you need to love God with all your heart, and you need to love your neighbour as yourself. For Jesus, love was absolutely central to life, to living life in this planet, and I'm sure we'd probably all agree with that. But then the crowd were a bit unsure about exactly what this meant, and they asked the question, well, who is my neighbour? You're talking about loving our neighbour. Who do you mean? And then Jesus, of course, told a story. He told the story of the Good Samaritan, a very well-known story, of course. Jesus told the story of a man who was walking from Jerusalem to Jericho, and unfortunately he was set upon by thieves and robbers, and he was stripped bare and left for dead, beaten up and left on the side of the road. And as he was lying there at the side of the road, somebody passed by. It was a priest, a godly man, somebody from the temple. And he saw the man lying there at the side of the road. And of course you would think, as I'm sure the crowd thought when they were listening to the story, that the priest was going to stop and help the man. But the man didn't. The priest didn't stop and help the man. The priest just walked on. And then Jesus says, a little while later, there was a Levite, another religious person, and he came and he saw the man at the side of the road, and he stopped and he looked at the man, but he passed by on the other side. Maybe he didn't want to become ceremonially unclean. Maybe his religion didn't permit him to touch people who were covered in blood and needing help, which seems crazy, because if religion is not about love, then what is it about? And Jesus goes on to say, a Samaritan was walking along the same road just a little while later. And of course the Samaritans were the enemies of the Jewish people, and this man who had been beaten up and left for dead, he was a Jewish man. And I'm sure the crowd thought, well, if anybody was going to pass by and leave the Jewish man, it was going to be the Samaritan, one of his enemies in a sense. But of course we know what happened. The Samaritan, he stopped and he helped the man and bandaged his wounds, put him on his donkey, took him to a local inn and paid for his care. And the crowd were amazed. And Jesus asked the question, so who do you think was the neighbour to that man in need? And of course they said, well, it was the Samaritan, it was the one who stopped and helped him. And Jesus says, exactly, go and do the same. So that's a challenge for each one of us, to be a good neighbour, to show love in action, not just literally to those who live next door to us, but to anybody that we see in need. To just stop and help, do what we can. Sometimes we can't do a lot, but we can at least show some care and some love. So whenever you see anybody in need as you're walking through life, if you can, stop and help, and you will be a neighbour, and you will show love in action. God bless you.